Hi, this is Maria Lloyd with the Your Black World Network, and this afternoon I would like to spotlight a good friend of mine, a fraternity brother, and a former coworker of mine who is a project manager by day, but he's a 2D, 3D artist by night, and a phenomenal one at that. His talents are so amazing that he was actually ranked in the top 1% most endorsed in the U.S. for 3D modeling. So at this moment, I would like to introduce you guys to Desmond Blair. Desmond, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, and thank you so much for joining us. So, Desmond, there is something very unique about you. I know, obviously you were born and raised in Dallas, and you have a very unique story. So, if you don't mind, could you just share your story with our audience?
Yeah, sure. Born, like you said, in Dallas, Texas. I was born without hands. I was actually born, grew up in a single parent household. My mother raised me. My father, he actually left my mother when found out she was pregnant. We actually found out she passed away when I was about 6 years old. But um, I guess that didn't really stop her from teaching me the things that I needed to learn in spite of me not having hands. Because her mindset was that, um, she wasn't going to be around forever, and I was going to have to figure out how to do stuff on my own. So that being said, a piece of advice she was given by the doctor after I was born just really kind of echoed throughout my life. And the doctor told her when I was born that she should make sure I got the best education possible. So probably a month or so after I was born, she actually found a lot of information about Scottish Rite Hospital, which is also in Dallas. And that institution has really been a blessing because it was an educational outlet, I think, for her in helping me, learn how to do different things and helping us, me, my mother, and my grandma, to tackle different challenges as I was growing up as a kid, like learning how to write and just various things, buttoning my shirts and stuff like that. Um, and that's actually because of tackling those types of challenges. That's actually how I became an artist. Um, when I was learning how to write before I started school early at the age of 3. My grandmother would give me coloring books, and we tried different things. Like I tried holding crayons with my mouth, tried coloring with my feet, a bunch of different stuff. But eventually I figured out how to use both of my hands in order to hold writing utensils. Started with crayons, but in order to build the dexterity to even write before I started school, my grandmother would do was have me just color. So she would give me like coloring books on end, probably more so than a normal kid. And like she would have me just keep going back and coloring stuff until I finally learned how to color inside the lines. And I actually was a little bit advanced in that area, so I don't know, I could take a coloring book and complete all the pictures in it, and you would think like a 6 or 7 year old did it at the age of probably 3 or 4 years old. But either way, that's what kind of got me ready for school and also helped me to develop my intrigue or my interest in being an artist. And so, from then on, like in elementary, I used to trace pictures. After I learned how to color and stuff like that, I would trace pictures. And probably by the third or fourth grade, I realized I didn't need to do that anymore. Um, and so, I also managed to skip the fourth grade. So I did half fourth, half fifth, and then went into sixth grade. So I was about 10 years old when I was getting ready for middle school. And going back to the education thing, my mom was doing some research around that time because she knew, I had like this really passionate interest in art, and I wanted to be an animator and learning that whole process and how 2D features are made and things like that. So she actually found a program at a middle school in Oak Cliff called W. Griner. And so in order to get into the school, I had to do something I had never done before, which was draw like a still life. So the challenge they gave me was to draw one of my pictures. I had never done it before. I was just used to, drawing Spider-Man, Wolverine, and comic book characters. But it was the first time I actually drew something from life, and it came out good. And got into grinding. I was about 11 years old when I started the 7th grade. And they were really focused on the arts. It was a better school than my home school would have been. And she did not, like, she didn't want me to go to my home school. She wanted, you know, again, to make sure I could get a better education. My mom couldn't afford private school. So this is kind of like the next best option because it's an academy. The way DISD works is if you attend an academy, it gets you prepared to be pipe and magnet school, which, again, they're not private schools, but they're a lot more career focused. And so from Griner, I actually went into Dallas Skyline, and that's where I graduated at with the focus on advertising design. So it was like traditional art, graphic design, typography. So kind of in the same area. And I graduated there in 2003 at the age of 16 and started at UT Dallas. And I was fortunate to get into UT Dallas as they were launching the arts and technology program. And so again, that was just my senior year. My mom done a lot of research. I got into a school in Savannah called Savannah College of Art and Design. They had a scholarship, but money was an issue there. So I couldn't really afford to just hop the plane and move to Georgia. But we found the program at UT Dallas, and it actually has worked to my benefit because since the program was just starting, it's actually really small. So I had more one-on-one exposure with my instructors. And I actually received the latest scholarship that helped me cover a lot of my expenses while I was at UTD, and that was something I received from Texas Scottish Rite Hospital. So, I don't know, I guess I've been fortunate to have an ongoing relationship with Scottish Rite Hospital, and then my mother, who's really passionate about, you know, she was just passionate about education and still is to this day, and like just pushing me and really like pushing me and helping me find resources, you know, to get through my education. And I actually worked a little bit as a graphic designer after I finished my bachelor's degree in 2007 and went back to really focus on 3D art, and also emerging media and communications in graduate school. And it's kind of how I ended up where I am today, doing research on different types of simulation projects and research and development in those areas, and just working as a project manager.
Okay, so you have achieved a lot. And I didn't ask you this initially, but could you share with our audience how old you are?
I'm 26 years old. I'll be 27 in August.
Wow. So let me ask you this. What advice can you offer individuals out here, or in our audience, who have relatives or they themselves may have been born with some type of condition that prevents them from doing things like everybody else? What advice can you offer them?
I would say, one, never underestimate anybody, because I think being born without hands really taught me to be humble. So I try to learn from people instead of it's really easy for people to look at other people and say, I have more education, or I'm from this type of background, or, to look down on them. But I think really just never underestimating them. And then also understanding that I think being born with a difference, if you will, it allows you to see the world in a different light. Truth be told, I've seen some really ugly sides of people, but then I've also seen some of the beauty, like I've met some really beautiful people, just internally,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing is just, never underestimating them and just try to learn what you can from them, because I think my experiences, in a way, it's still ongoing because I'm young, but they just taught me to see the world in a different way, and not really, I don't really classify people, people are people, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but you learn something from each one. And I think also, too, just learning how to be supportive,
Mm-hmm.
because my mother was there to support me, my family has been, too. My family isn't big, it's probably my grandma passed away, it's 6 of us in my immediate family. And, I don't know, they were just always supportive, you know. I mean, we have our normal, like, we get into it, you know, sometimes, like you do with most relatives, but at the end of the day, it's just, you know, they didn't treat me any different. They didn't treat me like I was weird. You know, they weren't like, oh, let me get this for you. Let me do this for you. It's like, do you have any sandwiches? Go, you know, I go to mom's house. I'm hungry. Well, go fix your sandwich, you know. So, I mean, it was just that there was no, it wasn't really baby, you know.
Right.
Just because I didn't have hands. Actually, and like my mother, I love her to death, but, and I appreciate it now that I'm older, but she was just kind of like, you know how they like throw you in the pool to see if you can swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she did that to me a lot, but I would say, like, now I understand the reasoning behind it, you know?
Right.
So,
okay. So let me ask you too now, I'm sure people are dying to see your portfolio. I mean, for you to be ranked in the top 1 percentile of 3D modeling on LinkedIn, which has over 200 million uh, profiles or registered professionals, where can people look at your art? I mean, of course, I know where I can find your art, and it is absolutely amazing. So where can our audience members find your art? Where can they, I mean, and can they also purchase it?
you can find me on Facebook. I do have a website that I've been tinkering with past couple of years. I actually broke my blog sometime last year, and I recently fixed it about a couple of months ago, so there'll be more updates coming there. But my website is blairmediadigital.com. It just has more information about the things that I've been doing. I updated with my portfolio, and I'm actually working on building an online store. So this has been a process because last year was the first time I ever really pushed to sell my artwork. And really a lot of what I did, I didn't want to just take it and profit from it because I've had a lot of people help me along the way. So what I was blessed to be able to do last year was do a lot of artwork for charities that benefited, you know, places that have really helped me out and organizations that have really helped me out. So I did some work for Alpha Phi Alpha program that they have, tutoring program that they have here in Dallas. I did some work for Scottish Rite Hospital, and I also did a piece to help raise money for breast cancer research. And so those were my first, I guess my first really like major pushes to sell my work. But for Scottish Rite, I actually sold a series of paintings that are related to some of my experiences growing up, you know, without having hands. And this year, I'll be doing the same thing. And so I'm actually gearing up right now for a couple of shows. One of them is in May, and it's called Underground, and it's the largest show in Dallas. But this is actually my first show where I get to kind of, you know, not necessarily for an organization, but what I plan on doing is proceeds that I receive from anything I sell in the show, I always try to make donations. Because a lot of people have helped me. So right now, in terms of selling my work to people, what I typically do is commissions. And so my email is on my website. A lot of times, if somebody emails me, I talk to them about what it is they want. We'll spec it out, and I go spec out the canvas and things like that, and we just go from there.
Okay, so how can they find you on Facebook?
Just Facebook, Desmond Blair. I don't know if you need anything extra. I'm also on Twitter, and it's D_Blair. And on LinkedIn. So either way, I'm fairly good about checking my stuff online or keeping my presence active. Been a little busier than normal lately, but I still try to get back to people.
Okay. Well, Desmond, thank you very much for sharing your amazing story with us. Of course, we wish you nothing but the best, and please keep in touch, and we'd be happy to help you push whatever you have going on, especially your upcoming show in May.
Yeah. Underground. 2013, if you're in Dallas, we'll be at the Southside Loft on Lamar.
Okay, perfect. And for our audience members, thank you guys for tuning in to the Your Black World Network and supporting us. Thank you all very much.